talk me through what it looks like for you with your toolbox and how you get to work on the new stuff, the stuff that you want to add to it.
Yeah, I think for me, it's just really finishing at the top of the rush. I think just looking back over my film the past couple of years, there's been plenty of times where I felt like I have won with a chop rip or a cross chop or a ghost, but then the quarterback stepped up and I just got pushed back past the quarterback. And so I think something for me that I've kind of worked on is just really working those moves at the top of the rush and getting back to quarterback level. I think is something that's going to help me.
All right, got one of my favorite players on. This dude can rush, and I don't think he gets enough attention, but been a lot of fun to watch over the last 3-4 years now. One of the best pass rushers in the AFC North, if not the entire league, Alex Highsmith. Welcome to the show, man. How you doing?
Doing great, doing great. Appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, dude. So listen, it is. Listen, let's make no bones about it. It's Monday, July 22nd. When I used to play, about this time, that dark cloud would kind of drift over me, and it was time for training camp. And I start thinking about, man, I haven't hit anybody in a couple months, and it's going to be hot out there. You're headed to Latrobe when? Talk me through the next couple days.
Yeah, so we head down Wednesday. Got some stuff we're doing there on Wednesday, so that's the check-in day, and then Thursday it starts. So we're excited. Everyone's gonna excited to get ready to rock. So I can't wait for it. It's gonna be a special year.
Do you have like a last meal or something? Do you do something like the last couple days? Because I mean, training camp's not what it used to be. I don't mean to like old man you, but if you
Yeah.
talk to some of the older guys, it was a real grind. I figure it's always a grind now, but
Mm.
is there anything you do like right before you go, where you're like the last gasp of fresh air before I go in the washing machine?
Yeah, every the night before camp every year, me and my wife always go out to eat and spend some time together. So me and my wife Alyssa have a great dinner planned, and I think we're going to a nice sushi spot. So it's one of our favorite spots to go to. So gonna do that and just enjoy some time together because we're gone for most of the time, but get to come home one day a week. So it'll just be good to spend that last night with her, like I always do.
So you get that one day off a week now, right? You saying
Mhm.
you get one day
Yep.
where you can actually go home. And how far is Latrobe from Pittsburgh?
From Pittsburgh, it's probably like an hour where I'm from, hour 20. So it's not too bad of a drive at all.
So dudes go home on the off day.
Yeah, a lot of guys do. Guys who have families back here and who are married and like I said have families. We usually come back, or some guys just come back, just to come back and just relax on that day off.
Tell me what Latrobe's all about, man, because it's one of those things I can remember playing. I was talking about in the open, and nobody was coming to our training camp practices, and there was no NFL Network. But I used to watch Green Bay dudes riding bicycles, and Latrobe. It's like a fixture in the NFL. It's like something. It's like a tradition, and I kind of wonder what it's like to actually walk down in that bowl and practice. What's it all about up there?
It's about the experience. I think honestly, Latrobe is probably the best camp experience in the whole NFL. Just fans coming out every day. I mean, there's thousands of fans that come out every day. So every practice feels like a game out there, especially when the pads come on and we're doing competition drills and we're doing all our team drills and stuff like that. So it's just a feel like no other. And whenever you come out of the locker room every day, there's always fans. We always walk down this little gravel rock path to the field, and there's fans on both sides just cheering you on the whole time. And then when practice gets done, you got fans coming up that same path, going back to the locker room, and also fans on the other side. So it's just a crazy atmosphere, and every day, like I said, it feels like a game, and it's just a cool atmosphere, and the fans love it, and it's always a good time being out there and putting on a show in front of the fans.
What's Tomlin's camp like? Is it you guys padded up a good bit, or you got like talk to your buddies around the league? Like I used to talk to my friends down in New Orleans, and they'd be like, "Bro, this is it's like a work camp down here. Dudes are out here. It's 100 degrees, 75% humidity, full pads, live. Like, what is Tomlin's tempo like in camp, and what do you like? What do you need? Because I remember there were things that I needed to get back in the swing of things. What's his camp like, and what do you personally need to get back in the swing of things?
Yeah, I think he runs things great. It's a physical camp, that's for sure. Whenever we're in pads, we got some live periods, we got different hitting drills and stuff that we do, different one-on-ones like we do against the O line, and we do stuff against the tight ends as well. But I think he just breeds competition, and he wants that. He wants to see guys be competitive. He wants to see the best out of everybody. So I think that's something that is really highlighted during camp is the competitive nature, the competitive aspect of the game, whether it's starting from our first team drill in 7 shots or doing competition drills or finishing the day with just a team period. I think everything we do is about competition, and whether that's in pads or whether we're in helmets and shorts, no matter what we do, we're competing. I think he just brings the best out of us during those times. And so if you're a competitor, you'll love I think so many guys that I know that are competitors love Coach T's camps. I love it too because I'm a competitor myself.
Well, also, I feel like if he's a guy that gives you a lot of reps, you do a lot of team periods, you do a lot of real football. Like I can remember, used to come out and I hated individual. I don't know about you. I mean, I like getting the work in, but I'm like,
Yeah.
hey, we're spending 35 minutes over here. I want to get to it. Let's get to inside run. Let's get to, one-on-one pass rush. Let's get to the stuff where I can hone my skills a little bit good, man on man. I love
Yep.
hitting the bags and all that sort of thing. Are you the type of guy that when you get into camp, you're fighting to get those reps, even though you're established now, which is kind of an interesting thing because coming up, I'm sure you were fighting to get those reps to show what you could do.
Mhm.
Now you've kind of arrived, but do you still fight to get those reps so you can get back in the swing of things?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm the type of guy who always wants to be in and be competing and getting reps. And so, whether there's some days, where I get, since like you said, I'm established now, whether I get it toned back a little bit, I still want to be in and getting the full reps that I get because that's just kind of the mentality I've always had. I was a walk on in college, and so for me, I've had to work for and earn everything that I've gotten. And so, I think that's just this mentality that I carry with me every single day is just to get better every single day. And like I said. I think it was a couple years ago during camp. I broke my ribs during camp, and I think it was we were doing some type of like pass team drill, whatever, and I broke I felt something pop inside. And it was like my rib cartilage. I thought it just got the wind knocked out of me, and so came off the field, and everyone's like, "Chill, chill, chill." I'm like, nah, like I gotta get back in there and get some more reps. And then I go back in, and I felt something weird happen, and then ended up sitting out the rest of camp. But like I said, I'm a guy who always wants to be in and be competing.
How did you break? Were you like arm over and somebody and the guard came in, or what? What? Because that happened to me in training camp too.
Yeah,
It was my brother, dude, and
yeah,
they had the Bears come up and we were practicing live stuff against them, and I beat him across his face on a stunt, and he whipped his big ass arm around and hit me with an ice pick and
yeah.
broke my ribs during camp. And so I've been through that same thing. How did it happen to you?
It was just a weird situation. Like I was just rushing. I ended up tripping. I can't remember how it happened, but then I fell. I like fell, and someone else was already on the ground. And I fell. I think my rib, my broke. Like I said, I broke my cartilage, not the ribs. So I think I fell right on someone's heel, and it
Yep.
just like popped and just took the air out of me. And then I was riding back. I remember on the bus back. I think it was like our Friday night lights practice. So we were
Yeah.
like at this high school field in Latrobe, and I remember riding back on the bus and my ribs popping in and out, and I was like, "Oh, this ain't right." So I had to go get an MRI that night and everything. And so, yeah, it was just kind of a crazy. I was like, I still feel it now. It's weird, but um, it's just like kind of a little deformity, but I don't think it's hindered my play at all.
Yeah, you can feel little bumps, like where
Yep,
like the bone builds up or whatever. Actually, funny that you
mm,
said you fell on somebody's heel. That's the worst.
it's the worst.
I went to tackle a running back and landed on his heel between the
Hmm.
ground and his heel, and it fractured my sternum. Like where you go where those tackles where you kind of slide
Yep.
down back somebody's leg. I think it was actually Adrian Peterson. That shit sucks. I with camp getting back to like repping, and I think pass rush is so important. It's so important to try things, man. Like I was always so not afraid to, but if you get 2 reps in one-on-ones, you're like, well, I'm not going to work this crazy thing because I don't want to be in the meeting room later and people be like, you got blocked by this rookie or whatever it was. I'm working on my bread and butter. It's hard to find the times to work on the new stuff. And I kind of wonder what you want to put in your game this year that's new. I had read or heard that you were working on some counters off your spin. talk me through, you're going to what, year 5,
Yeah,
what
you're fine now.
what it looks like for you with your toolbox, and how you get to work on the new stuff, the stuff that you want to add to it.
Yeah, I think for me, it's just really finishing at the top of the rush. I think just looking back over my film the past couple of years, there's been plenty of times where I felt like I have won with a chop rip or a cross chop or a ghost, but then the quarterback stepped up and I just got pushed back past the quarterback. And so I think something for me that I've kind of worked on is just really working those moves at the top of the rush and getting back to quarterback level. I think is something that's going to help me, whether it's a counter spin, whether it's a hump, or whether it's just coming around and pulling an arm down and getting around. I think that's something that's going to help me a lot because I think that's one thing that TJ does really well. He's someone who he wins a lot with his first move, but when he doesn't, he's always working his hands and always working that counter to because if an offensive lineman recovers, he's like I say, he's pulling that arm. If he's ripping up through him, he's pulling some arm down. So I think that that's something that he's really good at is just the counters and stuff like that.
Yeah, but I used to watch Aaron Donald, and he'd have a guy beat, but he continued to beat him. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
you have him beat at 4 or 5 yards, and then it's like he's just assaulting him on the way to the
yeah.
quarterback, on his back, pulling the arm out, pushing him through. Like, and I watched TJ too, and I used to struggle at times at the top of my rush, where it was like, hey, whether it was the turning the outside hand, like working on getting that outside shoulder in, or trying to use the tilt track, that type of stuff. Do you vary your tracks up a lot?
Yeah, most of the times I try to keep the same angle with a few rushes to try to make everything look the same. But this year too, I think I'll work even more of my angle. And last year, I felt like a lot of times I was taking a false step at times in my rush when I was standing at a 2 point, and so
Yeah.
sometimes getting back to that 3 point helps me to really explode off because I'm an outside foot back guy
Oh
when I
yeah.
when I rush. And so sometimes, like and I'm the same in 2 point, like I got my inside foot up, but sometimes in a 2 point stance, so I take a false step. And so, just kind of looking at what I did last year, just kind of being able to really just tune in those fine details and just be able to get better in that way.
Being an outside step guy, is that tough on play away in the run game?
It can be, but I think sometimes I whenever if I'm watching film or if I see something in game, like a lot of times you see stuff like this, you'll see
Yeah.
stuff on the field that you don't see on film.
Yeah.
Like if I got a 2 man surface and I see that the tackle's eyes are looking down, I know he's most likely blocking down, and that once he blocks down, I can kind of scoot in and take an angle to either get down to the stretch play or climb high for boot, depending on what the play is.
Yeah.
So just really looking at things, and that's the thing I was talking about, looking at things and seeing things in game, because like I said, you don't see it all during film, and so I think that's something that helps me.
Did you drop a lot at Charlotte, or were you mostly on ball?
Decent bit. So my first couple years at Charlotte, I was like outside backer. I was dropping a lot. Set my it's crazy. My junior year, I went from like outside backer. Then my junior year, started DN. Then we had this three. I think it was a something in the realm of a 3-3 stack, but it was a 3 down defense, and I was playing a 4-eye at 245 pounds. Didn't get many sacks, but I had a lot of tackles for loss that year. And then my senior year, we ran a 4-2-5 that really let me rush a lot, and I dropped a decent bit. But just being here and being in this system, I know that we drop a good bit, and so that's something that I've been working on as well. And when I do go in coverage, because when I'm in coverage, I always prefer to rush and get out to the quarterback, but I don't want to be a liability when I'm in coverage, and so I want to be the best that I can be when I do that.
Yeah, you guys are two of the best rushers that also drop regularly in the league. Like, there might be some guys that they work around and they don't drop guys a certain bit, but I always see you guys making plays. Do you sometimes marvel at TJ's playmaking ability? I think, there are great rushers. Like, he's a great rusher. You're a great rusher. There's great run players, but then there's also guys that like just have real knack for the ball. You know what I mean? What is it about him where it's like, whether it's a bubble screen and he's just going to jump off and pick it up off, or he's going to chop down at somebody closing, he's not just going to make the play backside, he's going to take the ball off. What is it about him? Does he spend extra time, or is that just a thing?
I think it's just a thing that he knows, and just the experience that he has. Like he's going into year 8 now, and just like I said, the awareness that he has. I think it was a couple years ago when he had those 2 picks against the Bengals, against Joe Burrow, where he jumped up at the line, and another one where it was we were playing the Bengals at home, and he did a swim move inside and just put his hands up and caught the ball. Like, it's just things that he does like that that make him who he is, and that's why I believe that he's the best in the world at what he does, because of the way he can rush and the way he gets picks, forces fumbles, and stuff like that. And so I think it's something that just really makes him a complete player, is what he's able to do in the rush, of course, and the run game, and also getting his hands up and picking balls off. And even when he dropped in coverage against the Rams this year, and we had some coverage adjustment that we did, and him running that, looking out there looking like a DB. He picked that thing off and almost cribbed it, and so that was just a crazy thing to see. But we practice stuff like that, and so I feel like we're prepared when we get caught up to do that.
I also feel like he might be the most jacked he's ever looked. I saw a picture of him a week ago, and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
what the fuck is this guy doing in the weight room? I mean, I said to my dad yesterday, I said, can you imagine if TJ Watt was playing in the 80s, what he would look like compared to
Yeah.
some of the dudes? And we were just marveling at him. What's his kind of like routine? And are there any stories you can share about the extra mile he takes it?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's very disciplined in his training. Know where he's at. Back in Wisconsin, I think he's had the same trainer for a long time, and that's something that he's accustomed to. And like I said, his trainer probably knows his body, and he knows his body, and so he's something that he takes all different phases of training serious, whether it's in lifting or mobility, recovery. I think he prepares well in the off season to be able to perform well like I said, in the season. Like I said, his mobility is really good as well, and just being able to bend around the corner and stuff like that. And so he just takes that stuff seriously, and I think he's a pro in all areas, and that's why he is what he is. And so I think I was really blessed coming into the league and having guys like him, Bud Dupree, Cam Hayward, and other veteran guys to really, to be around, to soak up information from. And I think that helped me a lot coming in as a rookie, and being able to have those guys, and now learning from them still in year 5 has been really cool.
You talk about Bud. I was a huge fan of Bud, still am. I just think his style of play is so underappreciated, a lot like yours, which I think is a compliment. It's he was like a rolling ball of butcher knives. He just wanted to, whatever was in his path, he was going to fuck it up.
Yeah, he was
You know,
gonna. Yeah, that's for sure.
and sometimes he wasn't going to make the play, but somebody else was going to make the play. And I just feel like watching you guys with you, Watt, Hayward, obviously, and I don't want to leave guys off. Herbig can play. And it was fun watching him kind of come along and you guys play together. But there's got to be a feeling of like, because we had it on our old DLine in St. Louis, where just a strength in numbers, man. That group becomes so close, and you become like a pack of wild dogs out there. You just really feed off each other. What's it like on third down? And they play Renegade or whatever they play up there. They play Sticks. The place is on its feet, and you look down the line, and you've got some combination of Benton, Hayward, TJ Watt, yourself. Like, how exhilarating is that? I mean, it just has to be. It has to be a great feeling to rush it home with that group.
Yeah, no, it's a great feeling. I mean, our stadium gets loud too, and especially like you said, in the fourth quarter when we play Renegade, I think that's a feeling like no other. And it's just sometimes those moments, like as a pass rusher, like you can feel like when a play is about to be made, and I think all of us on that line really, really feel that all the time. TJ talks a lot about it, Cam as well, and I think, like you said, we do have strength in numbers. I think we have a lot of depth this year at our positions, and like you had mentioned, I think Nick Herbig and Keanu Ben are both going to have really big years this year coming into year 2 for them both. And both of those guys are just going to be able to come in and make a lot of plays for us because they did last year. And so I'm just excited to be able to ball with those two as well. And I know they're going to do whatever they can to help us. And so I think overall, we just have a really, really solid unit up front. And so I just can't wait to get the ball with them.
Now, as much as y'all get along and love each other, is there also moments where you fight over sacks on Monday in the film room?
Yeah, we always make jokes where it's like one of us is close and we fall in the pod. We'll just say half or something like that.
Uh-huh.
So because everyone matters, you know what I mean. So
Yeah.
we're always making jokes like that. Even if someone it doesn't, even if it's not even close, we'll just make a joke and just like say half,
Yeah.
just to mess up everybody.
Well, when you never know, week 3 that half sack could trigger an incentive week 15.
No doubt. Like you said, everyone matters.
Never happened to you, but when you hit that incentive on the head in December, it feels pretty good.
Yeah, I haven't had that yet because this is last year's first year of my extension, but now
Yeah.
this is my second year of my new deal. So I know that, like you said, it's all we're all trying to get it and get after it.
Is there any fighting over a fish week to week? I don't know if y'all call them fishes. We used to call a guy that you wanted to rush over a fish. Not that we're going to name anybody, but is there ever a fight over who gets to line up where?
Sometimes not really. I feel like most of us we kind of play on one side
Yeah.
whenever we do play. So TJ's mainly left, I'm mainly right, and usually Cam and Larry usually play left, and Cam plays right. And so I think usually it's when we do get those fish, we know that at our position we got to take advantage of them and make the most of it.
Oh, that's the worst because you'll win a bunch of rushes and maybe not get home, and you'll be like
Yeah,
this. And I know you had that kind of year last year where it was like, and 7 sacks is a lot of sacks, dude, in the NFL, and especially I know for you having done 14 the year before, you're like, I want double digits every year. I know that, but you had to be happy with some of the quality of your play, man. I mean, you're applying a lot of pressure. TJ was down, that getting close has got to be frustrating, but I think you also probably see the effect that you have even when you don't get home sometimes.
yeah, no doubt. And I think also frustrating too. And I had a couple taken away from penalties and stuff like that. That's definitely frustrating too. But for me, I don't want to let it get to my head too much. So sometimes I feel like when I'm rushing well, like there was a couple games I felt like I was rushing really well last year and beating my guy and just didn't hit home. But for me, it's just keeping my head and keeping my confidence and knowing who I am and knowing that I had that 14 sack year like I did a couple years ago. That gives me the confidence to know that that's the type of player I am. And like even last year, there were some times where I felt like I was rushing better than I was a couple years ago, even though the numbers didn't show it. But for me, it's just keeping the mindset and keep getting after it. And also too, I had 2 picks this year, never had that in my career, and so I felt like I was able to make some plays in the pass game as well. And so for me, it's just about keeping my confidence and just getting after it and not really worrying about you know what's being said or whatever, but because I know the type of player I am, and I know that my best ball is still in front of me, and so I just know I just gotta. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not content, at all with not content with 14 and a half, not content with 7, no matter how many.
Yeah.
That's kind of the mindset that I want to have, and I want to always get better. And I think that's what kills guys in this league is they get complacent, and so I just never want to be that type of guy. I want to always be striving for more and always be striving to get better.
You seem like the type of guy that really cares, though. I mean, everybody
Yeah.
cares, but like you really care. I can tell. And hearing you talk about putting pressure on yourself and that sort of thing, I
Mhm.
think the edge rusher's got to be one of the most mental positions in football because we're evaluated on one thing, that number, which to me is bullshit, and also doesn't tell the whole story all the time. But that's the currency that we agreed to operating under, and so I kind of wonder if you've developed any strategies when there is a slump, because I can remember there were games where, and I had the vets tell me they come in bunches. I'm sure you've heard that a bunch, but like where Leroy Glover would tell me, "Hey, easy, don't press," or I'd come to the stadium and I'd be thinking about was I need one today. I want to win, but I need one. Have you developed any mindset strategies when things aren't going right where you can just let it go a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, I think just letting my preparation just play out in itself. And I think for me, like you said, there's been times where I come show up to a game and say, oh, I got to get at least 1 or 2 today. You know what I mean? And I think for me, when I'm coming to a game and I'm not thinking about that, when I'm just thinking about playing my best and just going out there and playing, I feel like that's when I play my best. But when I'm thinking about it, playing and play out, getting that every single play, I think that sometimes when it gets in my head and I put that pressure on myself and I don't play as well as I usually do. And so whenever I just go out there and just have fun and do my job and ball, I think that's when those plays come to me and I feel like I'm able to make those plays. It's just when I'm going out there and I'm having fun with the guys and just I'm going out there and doing what I'm supposed to do.
And there's nothing worse than trying to steal one and then watching something crease you for 30 yards, and you're
Yeah,
like,
no doubt. Yeah, so, coach, coach,
yeah,
you can't always, can never get a sack on a run play. So
yeah, yeah,
I've had some times where I've got upfield and created a gap. So
yeah.
and just know you got to let it come to you.
So this year, I want to talk. Are you guys acutely aware of how difficult your schedule is in the second half of the season? I know people aren't supposed to look ahead, but we have
Yeah,
these schedule releases for a reason. And I was pulling for y'all last year. I was one of the biggest Steelers fans, and just saying how I think you guys are a good football team. And when you guys hit that slump around the Arizona game, and Pickett got hurt, and you guys were there so close, even in that game where it's like if you just finish a couple times on offense, but you can't go through that slump this year in the second half of the season. And you guys know that. You got 6
yeah.
division games and then the Eagles and the Chiefs. So how important is it to you to start fast? Is that something you guys are talking out loud about, starting fast and figuring things out earlier?
Yeah, I think as of right now, it's something that we're not really talking out loud about, but I feel like, a lot of people do know that end of the year schedule is going to be a gauntlet. But, as you know, every single game in the NFL is a hard game. It's hard to win in the NFL. And so I think just having that mindset, and sometimes, when you underestimate when you underestimate teams that you're better than or have a better record than, they'll creep up on you and they'll beat you. And that happened a couple of times last year. And so I think for us, it's just focusing on one game at a time. And I think for us, as long as we stay healthy, I think we're gonna have a great team this year. And I feel like ever since I've been here, I feel like we played pretty well in the division, and that's one thing I love about our division. It's the best division in football, and it really brings out the best in you every single game to compete. And so, uh, it's definitely going to be a gauntlet towards that end of the year. But I think the mindset we have is focusing on one game at a time, and we know that starts with Atlanta week 1.
The thing I found out about you this morning, actually, and it should have made more sense to me, you being a Carolina dude, is we got something in common. You grew up a big Panthers fan, so did I. I
Hmm.
was I was a huge Panthers fan. I used to paint my face when I was like a little kid and go to the games, like
Okay.
drive down. And I was a huge Kevin Green, Julius Peppers, Steve Smith,
Mhm.
Sam Mills, dude. Like
Yep.
I'm a little older than you, but were you like a fanatic? Were you like really into the NFL growing up?
Yeah, I'd say I was. I wouldn't say I was a fanatic, like face paint and stuff
Yeah, I
like
was down
that.
there, bro. I had Sunday ticket. Bro, I remember crying when they lost, like in the playoffs. I was like 11. Okay, don't judge me, but I was
Hey,
really
I,
boys, man.
I think I did after. I think I was like 5. I think whenever they lost to the Patriots in the Super Bowl that one year, and I was sad, man. And two, I remember that 2015 year. Uh, when they went 15-1, and I was upset after that Super Bowl as well. Hey, I think that was definitely a winnable game, for sure. But um, I think just overall, I did grow up, like you said. I loved Joyce Peppers, I love Steve Smith, and during that 2010 era, like guys like Cam and Luke Kuechly, Thomas Davis, Charles Johnson, so many other guys I can
Yeah,
name,
Charles.
but um, there were so many great guys on those teams. And I never really watched the Steelers. Of course, I knew who they were because they had a lot of great players and they won Super Bowls, when I was growing up and stuff like that. But now being here with the Steelers, I think there's no other team I'd rather be on.
You say Charles Johnson. You don't play exactly like him, but
Hmm.
I think of the same way. Like super underappreciated, one of the best rushers in the league, and a lot of
Yeah,
power. Like a lot of power, a lot off the power. I thought Charles was a great player, man, and we were about the
yeah,
same age. So he was one of my favorite players. I got his jersey. So yeah, funny thing. When you went back, I'm sure everything went fine, but I went down there and grew up a huge Panthers fan. I'm playing against
yeah,
Steve Smith. Like Steve and me are cool,
yeah.
and they got into it with Robert Quinn, and they're like punking Robert. And I go over there and I get in a fight, and I punch some guy in the face, and I get ejected.
Yeah. Oh,
I
when was
get
this?
This
What year
was
was this?
2014. It
Okay.
was Rams Panthers. So
Mm.
we ended up losing that game, but they're walking me off the field and motherfuckers are throwing beer bottles at me. And I'm thinking, bro, like, I love you. I was like, this is my team,
Yeah,
man. This
yeah.
is fucked up. So I'm glad your homecoming went probably better than mine there.
Yeah, it was probably one of my favorite moments of my career. It's basically, being from Wilmington. Wilmington is only 3 hours from Charlotte, but
Oh yeah,
I played ball at Charlotte, and we it's a piece, of piece of my story, a huge piece of my story. It's where I met my wife. It's where I, of course, went to college, and so I think being back there was huge. I think I had 40 people, something like that, come to the game.
yeah.
I had it was really cool. The night before the game, our team chaplain at Charlotte, he did our chapel the night before the game. So we actually stayed on Charlotte's campus when we were there as well. So and a lot of guys were like didn't know, like, like, oh, this is, didn't know this was here, and like, Charlotte, we're not like, not a small school, but it's a smaller football school, and it's getting, they're getting better and better every year, and so, but I think that was just a special moment. I had a sack and a forced fumble on the goal line that game, and that was just then we got the win, of course, that was the biggest part, but I think that was just definitely one of the more memorable moments of my career, being down there and playing against a team that I, rooted for growing up.
Did you meet Biff yet, Poggy? The
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. So that weekend was the first time that I met him,
yeah,
when we went down there.
yeah. He's so my one of my college roommates who played tight end in the NFL. He married Biff's daughter, uh,
Okay.
and so I was at Biff's house, wherever it is, down at the beach somewhere. But he's got a beautiful house down there, and they had the wedding there. That program's in good hands with that dude. As
No
that
doubt.
that dude is 100% a guy you want to get a beer with, a guy you'd want to play
Yeah.
for. So that's real cool. I think we were eventually going to get down there for a game. So, but yeah, no. Before I let you go, I wanted to ask you about Russell Wilson. To me, he was like a young guy, dude. Like when he came in the NFC West, we used to try to tee off on him, and he was a beast. He was like, we were like, wow, who is this kid? But he would hold the ball a little bit. He would drift out of the back of the pocket and make things a little easier on your boy. So we liked playing against Russ. He was a younger guy. For you, seeing Russ show up, is that like seeing, an OG, like an older guy? Like to you, he's like football royalty, right? And what's that like having him walk into the building when you guys have had this carousel of quarterbacks and nothing against any of them, but there certainly wasn't a Russell Wilson.
Yeah. I mean, I remember whenever he came in the building for OTAs, it was just, I just remember seeing him. So I'm like, yeah, that's Russ, like guy I grew up watching, and this guy Super Bowl winning quarterback and everything, and he's definitely like an OG. But I think a lot of the guys love him, and so I'm just excited to see what he brings for us this year. And I know I think no, I don't think, I know he's excited to be a Steeler and play for this team and play for this organization. And so I think a lot of guys are rallying around him, and I just think he's going to be great for us and provide a lot of spark to our offense as well. And so I just can't wait to see the way that he leads us, and the way that the guys rally around him and stuff like that. And so, like I said, he's just, I think he's really motivated right now. And even though I don't know what year he's in, but I think he's feeling as good as he has his whole career right now.
He's getting up there, but Fields, man, young, fast, explosive, probably bigger than you even. Like, like if I stood next to the guy, I'm pretty sure I'd be like just blown away. It's the same thing with Josh Allen. You've played Justin, I believe, and had to chase him around. What's that like, and how nice is it knowing he's on your team?
Man, dude's a special talent. He's a freak athlete, great quarterback. And I remember we played him my second year. We played the Bears at home. It was like a Monday night game, I think. And I was chasing him around that edge, and he started scrambling out to the left side, and I was chasing behind him. He turned around and looked at me, and he was gone. I'm talking about hit another level, and I'm like, that's when I really realized how fast he was. And so I just think he's just going to provide a lot of value for us, and he's a great quarterback as well. So the competition between them two is just going to bring out the best in them both, and so I just can't wait to see. I think both those guys are great leaders, and so I'm just excited to see them both compete and get after it during camp.
All right, so last thing, man, you got some exciting young rookies. You also have some exciting second-year players that I think are going to make a big jump. But like Fatanu, Zach Frazier, you guys have been in underwear mostly, no pads yet. A couple days now, you're going to see it. What have you seen so far from the young offensive lineman in the building, and also like Broderick Jones? You know, kind of got thrown into it last year, and there was some stuff on tape that I was like, "This is fucking gonna be fun." If he
Yeah.
just if he hones a little of the technique, have you seen that jump from him, and what do you see from the young guys?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just a steady growth that I've seen. You know, of course, no one comes in as a rookie and is out there, looking, perfect and doing everything the right way. But I think, whether it's Broderick or Zach or Troy, I think all those guys have taken a steady growth, and so I'm just excited to see, how it is during camp. You know, we're going to be competing against them, so we're going to want to, be winning against them and stuff like that. But I'm just excited to see the way that those guys grow and mature, throughout this camp. And I think for a guy like Broderick, when he came in last year, and I think he just added such a spark to the offense when he came in and was, clearing holes in the run game. And he wasn't on his natural side, but I felt like he got better throughout the year at that right tackle spot. And so I'm just excited to see what those guys are able to do for us this year.
How long do you wait in camp before you start telling those guys the secrets? Do you try to beat them the first 2 weeks and get and win your reps,
Yeah.
and then you're like, "Hey, man, when I do this, maybe you shouldn't do this," or do you wait till almost week one? What's your style when you talk to a younger offensive lineman in camp?
I feel like it's usually after like a couple weeks or so. I think you got to get in and get after them and stuff like that. But I think it is important to teach those guys and help them because at the end of the day, it's iron and sharpening iron and iron sharpening iron. And so we're on the same team and we got the same goals. And so we want to do whatever we can to, you know, give all we got and compete against them. And but also, we know that we're on the same team and we got to make everyone better. And so I think that's just what it is during camp. It's iron sharpening iron, and that's just really the mentality that we have every single camp.
Last thing, I'm excited to see Peyton Wilson. Uh, that guy looks exciting to me for a lot of reasons. A lot of the athletic skills he has, and I think your linebacker room with Holcomb coming back going to be a lot of fun to watch. Also, a guy that I played with, I had to ask, have you gotten a friendly fire concussion yet from Landon Roberts?
Uh, I
Wait,
haven't. I
are
haven't.
you aware though? Are you aware of how big that guy's fucking head is and how hard he hits?
That I can't remember. It was one day during camp last year, and he hit somebody so hard. I can't remember if it was a competition or whether it was in like a team run or goal line or something. But I'm like, yeah, this dude's a headhunter. I think it was like week 2 against the Browns. He had like a crazy goal line hit too. I'm like, yeah, that dude loves football and he loves to hit people. But you need that type of guy on your defense because I know the game is changing and it's not as it's so much more feel like revolving around the pass. But in the day, football is still a physical game and always will be and always should be. And so I think you got to have guys like that in your locker room. He's a veteran guy. He's a leader for us, and a lot of guys rally around him.
That's so funny to say, and it makes me feel old because I remember when he was young and he was in New England, and the motherfucker gave me a concussion in walkthroughs. So just ask him about the time he binked me in
Walk through.
Yeah, we were doing like a walkthrough form up tackle kind of thing.
Yeah,
I think I was a running back, and we were doing some off to the side work, and
yeah,
he just kind of walked through and bink, dude, that big ass head. He put that big ass head right here, and I told Matt Patricia, I said, I might have a concussion, so I might have to take the rest of the practice off. But we, you
yeah.
know, so if you
Not
get,
go against him again.
yeah, ask ER about the time he hurt old man Chris. But
I
yeah,
got
no,
you.
I'm rooting for you this year, man. A lot of fun watching you play. Best of luck, and hope you come back soon and chop it up with us after a big win.
Yes, sir. No doubt. Appreciate you, Chris.
Yeah,
Great talking to you, and
talking to
I
you, man.
appreciate you.
Yeah, likewise, bro.